Hello everybody out there watching on YouTube, and welcome to the third event of this week's Daytona Speedweek to kick off Season 4 of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I'm Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Gatorade Duels here at Daytona International Speedway, as we're getting set for two 15-lap races to determine the rest of the starting lineup for the Daytona 500 this Friday afternoon. But before we get into the race, we're going to recap who is already in the Daytona 500 from the qualifying sessions. Jake Baskinger, James Richardson, and Cody Lamas are all locked into the 500 for being the three highest go-or-go-home oriented drivers that made it in via qualifying speed. And Jake Baskinger on the pole for the 500. However, if he gets wrecked and forced out of the race here in the Gatorade Duels, then he will have to start in the back of the field in a backup car. But if he is to survive this race, he'll get to keep the pole position. So that's going to be very, very important for that 18 car. But without further ado, let's take a look at the starting lineup. Starting in the last row for duel number 1 is Richard Johnson, Jackie Tang. So they're going to have a lot of work to do if they're going to be able to make the Daytona 500. Top 10, Jake Baskinger on the pole with teammate James Richardson right next to him. Row 2 is Seth Cole, Cody Lamas. Row 3, Emmanuel Hardnett, Sean Galligan. Row 4, Charles Belding, Chris Stollerton. And then row 5 is William Brock and Matt Haas. With that said, let's get the command to fire engines for Gatorade Duel number 1 at Daytona.
Drivers, start your engines!
So the key to this race, like I said, for the 18 of Jake Baskinger, is to pretty much survive and try and keep his car at least intact and running on track. If he were to get caught up in a wreck and still able to continue, then he won't have to worry about having to start in the back of the field. So that's going to be a big thing for that 18 car. But yeah, like I said, James Richardson, and Cody Lamas are all locked in to the Daytona 500 via qualifying speed. We got 3 spots to determine here and 3 spots to determine in duel number 2. And how those will be determined, if you've been living under a rock in the world of NASCAR, you would know that in NASCAR rules for a Gatorade duel, typically, depending on how many cars make it in on qualifying speed and how many cars there are altogether for Daytona 500 weekend, in this case it would be the 3 highest go-or-go-home oriented drivers, whether it be the returning veterans or rookies. The top 3 finishers of the guys who are not in the 500 yet will transfer to the Daytona 500, and that's the same for duel number 2. Duel number 2, 3 of the drivers are already in the race, and they are Cody Smart, Joshua Michaels, Brandon Gonzalez, so they won't have to worry about anything. Pace car into pit road, which means it's time to boogity, 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 go duel racing! Seth Cole leads the first lap. And also remember, the winner of their respective dual races will get to start in the second row of the Daytona 500 and vice versa. So the winner of duel number 1, depending on who it is, if Jake Baskinger wins, then the guy who finishes second in the duels would get to start third in the Daytona 500. But if Jake Baskinger does not win and it's a different driver, then it'll be the winner of this dual race that will get to start third in the Great American Race. Anyways, we got a new leader, Emmanuel Hartnett, up to the front with help from fellow Toyota driver Dougie Shears. Although Shears has got a full head of steam, and I think he may have led that lap. And indeed he did. Just barely, though. Look at that interval right there on the beautiful new ticker that we've got. But right now, Dougie Shears has a spot, but look who's right behind him. One of those drivers who needs to make it in, finishing well. Alex Drayton in the number 14, a brand, like I said, newcomer to the series, driving that number 14. He's in the middle, 3 wide, with Dylan Poteet underneath of him, and Poteet's going to go to the point. Right behind Poteet in that inside line is Matt Haas. Matt Haas in that number 79, which actually that car right there did win the Daytona 500 last season. So Matt Haas is hoping to carry that momentum of that team and bring it to his own luck and hopefully do better than he did back in Season 3. It's getting a little bit dicey around mid-pack from what I'm seeing, as we're going to go to helicopter camera and watch as they're 3x3 several rows deep. This is the kind of racing I like to see at Daytona. Is great 3-wide action. Poteet, however, still hanging on to the spot, but look who's coming up through the field. Now, he's currently the highest transfer driver, Alex Gray, in the number 50. Alex Gray, teammates to Zach Flickinger for the brand new team of NOS Energy Racing. Running a different paint scheme than his teammate. His teammate's running the green NASCAR. Alex Gray, however, running the NOS Cherry paint scheme, but now up ahead of him is right now the highest transfer driver, and that is Kyle Matthews. He's now up to second, right on the back bumper of Dylan Poteet. So right now the transfer drivers, as I can tell, are Matthews, Alex Gray, and now Patrick Smith in the number 16 car. This is the first time in quite a long time on this channel that the number 16 is active in any offline series on this channel. So it's good to see that number 16 back. And right now, Patrick Smith is one of the 3 transfer guys, and we got a new leader being the highest transfer driver, Kyle Matthews, as he goes on by Dylan Poteet for the lead. Oh, but we got a crash! Patrick Smith is in it! But, oh, I thought they had it saved, but now they come back up in front of traffic! One car upside down, that's Trent Dunham. And now he's going for several barrel rolls. You can't even see him in that dust. Richard Johnson was involved, maybe, I don't know, he might have got through. James Richardson was involved, but he's already in the race, but he's going to end up having to start in the back now. And Jake Baskinger, he got through. Barely, though. I saw him in the middle of it, but he managed to get on by. Alex Drayton was involved, possibly. But yeah, the big one has struck here in the Gatorade Duels here in race number 1. Dylan Poteet is your race leader currently, so let's go ahead and take a look at the replay of what brought the caution out for the first time tonight here in Gatorade Duel number 1 at Daytona. Well, here's a look at what happened. So it starts right here in the backstretch as Patrick Smith, I'm not sure what he was thinking right there. He should have known that the 03 of Charles Sanford was right there still. And he just comes up right into the 03, and then everything seemed to settle out okay. Nobody really spun until Patrick Smith comes down on the apron in front of Alex Drayton, and then those two are going to come back up the racetrack and collect numerous cars. James Shelley was in it. Oh, and that is how Trent Dunham went upside down. It was from side-by-side contact with Dylan Thoreau, and look at this ride that Trent Dunham goes on. Slides upside down through the banking, and then we're going to see him come down the banking, and then he's going to barrel roll several times. Once he gets down on the apron, and then once he's in the grass, it makes him tumble even more. Wild ride for the one car. And I believe he's going to come to rest on his roof. So, very tough break for Trent Dunham there. Richard Johnson, I think, yeah, he did get involved in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, he was in there. As everything's starting to unfold after the 16 caused the initial incident, but then comes up into Drayton, and then right into James Shelley. And then there you see Richardson get in there. So I'm looking through. There's where Richard Johnson gets involved. Preston Bloor did a great job to avoid all that, but look at Trent Dunham. He took the worst end of this deal for sure. After big-time contact with the 6 of Dylan Thoreau. Let's take a look at that contact again. It was right after Richardson hit the 14 and then slides up into the 6. And then right there just slammed right into the driver's side door of Trent Dunham. And also with that momentum and pushing him up towards the wall. That's almost like an open wheel accident where a car hit another car and the tires go up onto the wall and it causes the car to go up in the air. And yeah, just tough break for a lot of guys. But without further ado, let's go back and take you to the restart here in the Gatorade Duel #1 race at Daytona. Well, after that caution, 4 cars are done for the day, and they include James Richardson, Patrick Smith, Trent Dunham, and Jackie Tang. So Smith and Tang are not going to be able to make the Daytona 500. Richardson's already in, but he's going to end up having to start towards the back of the field. So we're down to 26 cars on track. Some pit strategy went down, so that could tell me that some of these guys may not be able to make it on fuel for the rest of the race. But Kyle Matthews is the race leader and currently the highest transfer driver. Second is Anthony McCrory. Third is DJ Curtis. Fourth, Seth Cole. Fifth, Charles Sanford. Sixth is Matt Haas. Seventh is James Shelley, who's currently the second transfer driver. Eighth, Scott Roush, who's currently the last transfer driver here in Duel #1. Ninth is Dougie Shears. 10th, Emmanuel Hartnett. 11th is Chris Dollerton. 12th, Preston Plord. 13th, Richard Johnson, who's still in this, but he's going to have to put the pedal to the metal. 14th, Dylan Poteet. 15th, Rafael LeDuc. 16th, Paul Minnick. Although there appears to be a scoring error. Where is Cody Lamas? Oh, there he is. I guess they pitted late, so never mind with that. So back to Paul Minnick. So yeah, he's 16th. 17th, Alex Gray. 18th, Sean Galligan. 19th, Alex Drayton. 20th is Jay Jefferson. And then 21st, Shane Lake. 22nd, Dylan Thoreau. 23rd, Jake Baskinger. 24th, Cody Lamas. 25th, William Brock. 26th, Charles Belding. I'm not sure what this is all about. They're 3 wide back here. I guess there must have been a major scoring problem. I don't know. I'm going to stay back here just for a moment, just to keep an eye on things. That is weird. I have never seen a 3 wide start like that on a restart. But anyways, we're back underway with 5 laps to go here in Gatorade Duel #1. Right now, like I said, the 3 transfer drivers currently are Kyle Matthews, Scott Roush, and now the third one is Jay Jefferson, I believe. Indeed, it is Jay Jefferson. Or actually, no, wait. Dougie Shears. I actually forgot about Dougie Shears. Shears is actually now the second transfer driver, then Roush, and then Matthews. Oh, but the pit stops! I was afraid of this happening. Some of those cars could not make it on gas. Some are going to stay out, though. So things just got shaken up big time. So now that should hand the lead over to Jake Baskinger, who's back up at the front now. Cody Lamas in second, and then William Brock in third. Lamas is already in the race. William Brock, however, right now is the highest transfer driver, then Alex Gray, and then Charles Belding. But I gotta wonder if these guys are gonna have to pit or not. But yeah, pit strategy coming into play here in the closing laps of Gatorade Duel number 1. None of the top 3 are coming in. Neither is Gray or Belding. Thoreau's not coming in. Neither is Drayton, but Richard Johnson's coming in. Are some of these guys going to be able to risk it and stay out longer, though? Baskinger leads, and he's already in the Daytona 500 and on the pole. Then Lamas, who's already in. So right now, the 3 transfer drivers are William Brock, Alex Gray, and Charles Belding. That is unless these guys who are still out on track have to come in the pit road again. Or for the first time. We're going to stay with them. Doesn't look like they're coming in this time. Yeah, it looks like they're going to try and risk it. But now they've got lap traffic to deal with. Baskinger now has Sanford right in front of him. But look at the run Cody Lamas is getting. He is reeling in that 18 car big time. William Brock ended up getting slowed up, and now he's with Emmanuel Hartnett and Matt Haas to kind of keep him in the draft a little bit. Baskinger leads, Lamas in second, as they're going by Charles Sanford and Rafael LeDuc to put them a lap down. You gotta wonder if they're going to help the 18 or the 48, but they got 3 more ahead of them. Dougie Shears, Seth Cole, Scott Roush right in front, as the white flag is out here in Gatorade Duel number 1 as pit strategy came into play here in the closing laps. Baskinger has the advantage, but Lamas, I don't know, he's going to have to figure out some way to get on by, although he's got cleaner air because Baskinger went up high. But now Baskinger's going to try and go for a crossover underneath of Scott Roush to put him a lap down. Lamas, he's running out of time. He's trying to reel him in, but I don't know. He's going to have to pull down to the bottom off of turn number 4 if he's going to have any hope of winning this duel. Oh, but Baskinger shut the door on him. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. Checkered flag waving. Jake Baskinger wins the Gatorade Duel number 1 event here at Daytona. Huge shakeup as a result of pit strategy coming into play in the final laps of this race. And Jake Baskinger, who narrowly avoided the big one earlier, manages to pull off the win and will get to keep the pole spot for the Daytona 500. But let's look at the rest of the results. Cody Lamas, who was already in the race, he'll get to start 3rd in the Daytona 500, so that's going to be a huge boost for that 48 team. But now to the transfer drivers. Alex Gray was the first one, so Alex Gray transfers to the Daytona 500. Same with Charles Belding and William Brock, so those are going to be the 3 that are going to transfer to the Daytona 500. So that's 9 spots. 3 more to go, and we'll determine those 3 when we get to Gatorade Duel number 2 in just a few moments. But anyways, the rest of the top 10, Dylan Thoreau, Alex Drayton, DJ Curtis, Anthony McCurry, Kyle Matthews. Final 2 cars on the lead lap were Dougie Shears, Seth Cole. Everybody else was a lap down that finished. A lap or more down, I should say, and they were Scott Roush, Rafael LeDuc, Charles Sanford, Emmanuel Hartnett, Matt Haas, Preston Plord, Chris Dollerton, Jay Jefferson, Dylan Poteet, Paul Minnick, Shane Lake, Richard Johnson, Sean Galligan, and James Shelley. And then 4 cars were done up for the race after the big one. James Richardson, Patrick Smith, Trent Dunham, and Jackie Tang. But that does it for Gatorade Duel number 1, as congratulations to Jake Baskinger for winning. He'll get to keep the pole, but Cody Lamas will get the 3rd starting spot for the Daytona 500. Stick around in just a few moments as Gatorade Duel number 2 is about to begin. Hello and welcome back to Gatorade Duel number 2 here at Daytona International Speedway, as we are going to determine the outside lane, for the most part, of the Daytona 500. So remember, same rules apply as Gatorade Duel number 1. Pretty much the 3 highest transfer drivers that are not already in the Daytona 500 will transfer to the Daytona 500. So the 3 drivers that are already in via qualifying speed from this duel are Cody Smart, Joshua Michaels, and Brandon Gonzalez. But let's look at the starting lineup. Starting in the last row will be John Cittadino and Pichu London. Top 10, Dylan Young is on the pole, and if he can survive, will still get to start 2nd in the Daytona 500. Cody Smart is right next to him. Row 2 is James Qualls, Carson Gum. Row 3, Joshua Michaels, Brandon Gonzalez. Row 4, Joshua Collard and Dorian Facepuncher. And then row 5, Zachary Fitzwater and Jessica Shelton. Let's get the command to fire engines for Gatorade Duel number 2 at Daytona.
Drivers, start your engines!
So yes, like I had said, Cody Smart, Joshua Michaels, and Brandon Gonzalez are already into the Daytona 500. We still got 3 more spots to fill for that race. Now, if Gatorade Duel number 1 is any indication of what's going to happen here, we could see pit strategy with about 5 laps to go in this race, because we saw a lot of strategy take place back in Duel number 1. So we'll have to keep our eyes out for people coming in and out of pit road. But yes, Dylan Young, all he has to do is just keep his car on the racetrack, and he'll still get to start 2nd in the Daytona 500. So let's say if he were to win this duel, just like Jake Baskinger did in Duel number 1, he'll still get to start 2nd, but the guy who finished 2nd in Duel number 2 will get to start 4th in the Daytona 500, and vice versa. But if someone not Dylan Young wins the duel, then they will still get to start 4th in the Daytona 500. But we're coming out of turn number 4 to get this race underway. Keep in mind, tomorrow is Daytona 500 final practice, and then Friday's double headers. And we'll get to more about that here in just a moment, as we're getting set to go boogity, 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 duel racing again. Joshua Michaels leads the first lap. And already we're seeing a lot of 3-wide action here in the early going, as now 3 wide for second with Dylan Young, Zachary Fitzwater, and Joshua Sekuli, who is the defending Daytona 500 race winner. And he's still in it here in Season 4, but in a brand new team like I had talked about yesterday, Red Bull Racing, which has expanded to a 3-car operation. But look who's coming underneath in the 99, William Duncan, in a brand new Office Depot paint scheme based off of the 2008 Office Depot car. And also, as a side note, for those who didn't know, I actually made that car myself from scratch, and that was actually the first car in NR 2003 I made from scratch by myself. So I'm very proud of it, very proud of that, and I love how it looks. But right now, William Duncan up to second. He's currently right now the highest transfer driver. The other two I can't really tell because they're so close and 3 wide. It's hard to really tell what's going on. But I believe, if I can tell, it is Duncan, Sky Commons, and maybe Devin Becker nearly contact with Dylan Jacobs and Joshua Sekuli as they run really close to each other off of in the middle of turns 3 and 4. And Matt McIntyre already coming in the pit road. That could be smart strategy because most people pitted in the first duel that pitted under green flag conditions with about 3 to 4 laps to go. So that's kind of, if you ask me, that's smart on the part of the 32, especially if we stay green for the rest of this race and everyone has to pit towards the end. He'll get to stay out and hopefully try and pull off the W. But Michaels has so far led every single lap as a couple other rookies are battling for second. And they are transfer drivers, Devin Becker and Sky Commons, and they currently are the 2 highest transfer drivers. The third one perhaps being right now Joshua Collard in the 43. Although you got Zachary Fitzwater up here as well, who's trying to battle into the Daytona 500. As we're going to go to helicopter view to watch this. But now Matt McIntyre, despite coming into pit road, he's going to pay the price of going a lap down, I believe. Yeah, he's pretty much now a lap down. It's just scoring hasn't updated for it just yet. Joshua Michaels doing a good job of holding off everybody right now. Sky Commons and Devin Becker doing a good job keeping their noses clean up here at the front. Although we have a challenger for the lead as here comes Sky Commons. And look at Dylan Jacobs and Brandon Gonzalez go together to the bottom. Dylan Jacobs actually won here in around the midway point of Season 3 in the Coke Zero 400. So he is the most recent points winner at Daytona. Right now he's up here in the top 5, running in second right now. And now he's going to come down and follow Sky Commons. As Sky Commons running that number 45 for Richard Petty Motorsports in a GoPro Dodge, which is a really nice car. Jessica Shelton up here in the top 5 and third. Great run going for her so far. We're getting close to the halfway point here in duel number 2, and now here comes Cody Smart, who is already in the Daytona 500. So currently, right now, the transfer drivers are Sky Commons. I'm going to go to helicopter view to really figure it out. Devin Becker and Joshua Collard right now are the transfer drivers as the pack started to re-emerge into itself. Oh no, there they go! The crash! We got another crash underway. Zachary Fitzwater caught up in it. Devin Becker was in it. Benjamin Miles got caught up in it too. Dylan Young, who was going to start second, he got involved. Oh, he better hope he doesn't get forced out of the race, because if he puts his car over the wall, he surrenders his second place starting spot in the Daytona 500, and he would have to start in the back of the field. We're going to stay with him to double check Man, I'm a little bit nervous right here. Let's see. Is he done for today? We're going to find out in a moment. Yes, he is done. So Dylan Young will not get to start second in the 500. So now this race got even more interesting. Whoever wins this duel race will get to start second in the Daytona 500 now. Dylan Young is out of the race. Tough break for the two. So he's going to have to start towards the back of the field now as a result. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at the replay of what brought the caution out here for the second time overall tonight here in the Gatorade Duels at Daytona. So it all starts with contact right here. It looked like James Qualls came up a little bit, but the 62 of Dorian Facepuncher came down a little bit, and they couldn't get off each other, and they come right back up in the traffic. Qualls managed to not hit anybody. It was Dorian Facepuncher that caused a mess. Right in front of Dylan Young, Devin Becker, Zachary Fitzwater. Joshua Michaels actually got into the wall a little bit. And then Benjamin Miles slammed right into the rear end of Tim Fiegel's car. And look at Jake Rogers. He did a great job of not hitting anybody. Same with Johnny Gardner. I'm shocked this wasn't a bigger wreck than what I thought, but only few cars got involved, but the few cars that were in it are going to end up done for the day. And of course the guy who suffered most was Dylan Young, because he was going to start second in the Daytona 500, but now he has to surrender that spot because he has to go to a backup car. But with that said, let's go ahead and take you to the restart here in Gatorade Duel number 2 at Daytona. Well, after that wreck occurred, we got 4 cars done for today. Dorian Facepuncher, Devin Becker, Dylan Young, and Benjamin Miles. So Devin Becker will not be able to make the Daytona 500 now as a result. A lot of cars came in the pit road late, so they're all still trying to get caught up. So this restart's going to be quite interesting. But when we get to the line, it will be 4 laps to go here in Gatorade Duel number 2. But we got a new leader. Dylan Jacobs now has the spot. And remember, whoever wins this duel now will get to start second in the Daytona 500 instead of 4th. Cody Smart in second. 3rd is Jessica Sheldon. 4th, Brandon Gonzalez. 5th, James Qualls. 6th, Phil Parker. 7th, William Duncan. 8th, Jonathan Zorline. 9th, Ryan Brommer. 10th now would be Pichu London. Then 11th, Ryan George. 12th, I think, is Tim Fiegel, although scoring, yeah, look at this. This is going to be a very, very strange restart, as look at all these cars are so scattered. But that's the problem with cars pitting on the lap when they're going to go green. So this restart's going to be quite clustered for a lot of these guys. We're going to stay looking back here just to double check. But yeah, another 3 wide start back here with Collard, McLeod, and Commons. But they're going to keep it straight and keep it together, so that's the most important part. But the green flag is back out. 4 laps to go here in duel number 2. Dylan Jacobs got a little bit of a gap separating himself from Jessica Sheldon, who now has teammate James Qualls right next to her. And Qualls, no, he's not going to be able to make a move. He's going to stay tucked in line behind the O2. Cars are slowing down. Oh, I'm thinking they're going to have to pit again. This is just like what happened in duel number 1. Some cars couldn't make it on gas. Oh, and even the leader, Dylan Jacobs. Oh, but we got another crash. Oh, that's going to really shake things up. Caution comes out again for another crash. Citadino was caught up in it. I don't know. This is going to really make things interesting. I think Collard currently is scored as the leader, but will he get to keep the lead, though, is the thing. But yeah, the caution came out just as most of the field came in the pit road. Qualls managed to get out ahead, then Shelton, then Jacobs. But yeah, this really got interesting. Now, let's go ahead and real quick, and we're going to take a look at the replay of what brought the caution out for the third time overall tonight in the Gatorade Duels at Daytona. So this wreck gets started once those guys came into pit road. Everybody scrambled, and Cittadino tried to get in front of Tim Fiegel, but just not enough room, and just got up into the wall. And then Alex Ferranti goes for a spin. So basically this is just a two-car spin with a couple contacts right there. Like McLeod gets into Cittadino just a little bit, but yeah, this was largely a two-car incident. But it was enough to bring the caution out, so we're going to find out who's going to win Gatorade Duel number 2 here in just a moment, as we're going to go ahead and take you to perhaps the white flag lap here at Daytona. Well, nobody retired after that two-car incident, but we're coming to the white flag. Well, actually, we're on the white flag lap. We're coming to the checkered flag, and this will be the end of Duel number 2 and the Gatorade Duels as a whole. Checkered flag is going to wave, and the winner will be Joshua Collard in the number 43. He not only transfers to the Daytona 500, but he's going to get to start second in the Daytona 500. So congratulations to the 43 of Joshua Collard for a double reward, essentially. But the rest of the results, Joshua Sekuli finishes second. He will get to start fourth in the Daytona 500. Zach Flickinger finishing out in third. Ashland Boyd, actually the second transfer driver, he's going to be in the Daytona 500 now. And then Joshua Michaels, who's already in the race, he's going to most likely get to start in the top 12 in the Daytona 500. Then Johnny Gardner, Carson Gum, Zachary Fitzwater, I believe. Yeah, it is Zachary Fitzwater, who was the third transfer driver. So it was Collard, Boyd, and Fitzwater who made it in via finishing position here in Duel number 2. And then the rest of the top 10 was Tim Fiegel and Jake Rogers. Rest of the top 20 was Sky Commons, Alex Ferranti, James McLeod, John Cittadino, James Qualls, Jessica Sheldon, Dylan Jacobs, Jonathan Zorline, Ryan Brommer, Cody Smart, Peachy London, Ryan George, Brandon Gonzalez, William Duncan, Phil Parker, and Matt McIntyre. And then the 4 cars that were done were Dorian Facepuncher, Devin Becker, Dylan Young, and Benjamin Miles. So that does it for our coverage here in the Gatorade Duels. Tomorrow is Daytona 500 final practice, which will be a 10-minute session, and I won't be doing commentary for it. There's actually going to be a loop of the theme song playing instead of commentary. And then, of course, Friday's a doubleheader. We got at noon Friday afternoon will be the debut of the NNSCRA Domino's NXT series, the Daytona 300, and then at 4 p.m. Eastern Time will be the Daytona 500 itself. But thank you guys for watching the Gatorade Duels, as you will see the final starting lineup here in just a moment. But thank you all for watching. I'm Levi McIntyre, signing off.